Welcome everyone to another episode of Time for BL. This is the podcast where we review movies, TV shows, novels, and comics, all in the boys love genre. So while the Bad Buddy series is on a little break, I decided, why not go ahead and purchase the book and read it. So I went to Reddit, was able to get help to find it on the MEB ebooks, the English translation, purchased it, and also got to hear someone else's opinion of the book who had read it. And they were the ones who told me the book and the show are not the same. You're not going to, it's not going to spoil anything. Like, there's no spoilers in the book whatsoever. Basically, GMMTV saw the book by Afterday and was like, this is a great concept, and just rewrote it for the TV series. And honestly, I don't blame them. I don't know what the Thai version looked like, or even the Chinese version that I saw looked like, or how well it's written, but I can tell you for the English version, it's I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know if it's the editor's fault or the translator's fault. I don't know if the translator was just doing an exact translation of the book, but oh my gosh, who wrote that? It is missing a lot of the core concepts of writing. It makes a lot of mistakes, and sometimes you can challenge what the writing norms are and come up with something really good and really interesting and really different. But with this being such a basic slice of life BL storyline, it doesn't work. If you're going, well, what do you mean what doesn't work? A lot of the book, how it goes is like one chapter is from the point of view of Pat, the next chapter is from the point of view of Pran, and it keeps going like that, which I actually did like that. I liked it, but I liked it more in the later half of the book, which is where I am now. I haven't completed the book, but in the later half of the book, I am liking this is Pat's point of view, this is Pran's point of view of the story, and getting to see how they feel and stuff. But in the first part of the book, it just didn't work well. And another thing that, well, it didn't work as well as it could have done. Another thing that really, I think, did not help the book, I think, was the fact that I don't know if this is the author again, or if this is the translator or the editor. I would be reading sometimes, I'm going, wait a minute, when did we get to the cafeteria? And I have to go back to find where the scene changed, because it's not a clear scene change. It's some parts of the book reads very Wattpad for me, and I'm sure everyone kind of understands what I mean by that. And again, I don't know who would necessarily be at fault for that, because it could be that the author did a really good job in their writing in like explaining everything or showing transition better, or maybe it's the editor who showed the transition better by creating more spaces between the paragraphs when there's going to be a scene shift. But the English version does not have that. I had many times reading, so too many times, even in the later portion, which does get better as far as the writing. I even had in the later portion times where I went, what is this? But did that really affect the story? Honestly, not too much for me. It didn't take too much away from the story, because like I said, I could see. Oh wait, I didn't say that to you guys. I once reading it said, sorry, I can see a producer, editor, somebody from a TV station or wherever who's looking for new BL content to make BL shows, seeing this story, or because of the popularity of the story coming across their radar, taking a look at it and just going, don't really know about this version, but it's a really nice concept. It works. You know, Romeo and Juliet always works. It's a classic love story. So Romeo and Juliet is always going to work. But as a standalone book, if I read this as a standalone book and they said they were making it into a TV show, I would be like, how are they doing this? Because it's good, but it's not. I would love to see this as a show good. That's why I'm actually very happy. It makes me even happier about all the changes they made, and they're huge changes. One change is that in the book, they're actually in college throughout the story already for 4 years. So they're in their senior year of college when their relationships finally starts. Before that, they were just friends, for secret friends for 4 years in college. And finally in their fourth year, hi truck, finally in their fourth year, their relationship has blossomed. So that was one of the changes that I actually like that they made with the show, with having it be that they just started college, just seeing each other, and the relationship is already starting to blossom. I don't mind that. The other change that, well, a lot of change that was made, but another change that was made is Par, the younger sister. In the book, she's Par, is what I'm seeing it written as P-A-R. In the show, it's P-A. But also, in the book, she's 3 years younger, not 1 year younger, than Pat. And they've also made other changes, such as with the friends, the characters who are their friends. Korn is actually Gore, or Go. I don't know if it's pronounced the same or not, but yeah, they changed some of the characters as far as friends, and also added more details to the friendship, so we can really see what their friendship was like in the show. Because there's in the book, it's just, here are the friends to fight the other group. Here are the friends to like have a friend who's not really a friend. It's like all these different things, and it's seniors also hanging out with their juniors in the book, versus in the show where they're juniors already, so they're just well, they're freshmen, whatever. So it's just them figuring out college and life and stuff. And Ink isn't in the book. Ink isn't in the book. I love her. Well, so far, Ink isn't in the book. Oh my god, instead some chick named Punch. And I don't hate her. I actually feel for her. She's a character that I do feel for. And hopefully they don't bring into the show. Because if you remember, in one episode I talked about one of the things I hate, that a girl is kind of used to be the she's the object that helps him figure out he's gay. Versus, actually, in the book, Pat does figure out he's gay on his own, and sort of. No, he did have sex with a girl, and he told her, I can be sexual with women. I'm gay. Like, sex is sex, but I'm gay. And like, yeah, cool. That's not a huge problem, because that does exist, but at the same time, it goes back to the a girl helps me figure it out, I'm gay thing, which is one of the annoying, like, tropes in BL. But the way it's used there, I don't mind fully. not fully. And this girl Punch, I feel more sorry for her because she's also in a situation like Pat where, you know, their parents just tell them how to live their lives, and well, a lot of that's just parenting in a lot of countries, honestly. Your parents tell you what you're going to do. This is what you're going to major. This is what you're going to and this is the job you're going to have after you graduate college and all that stuff. And she's in this situation just like Pat and Fran, and I don't know what her emotional mindset is, because in the book we're only seeing from Pat and Fran's point of view. But in one part it did look like Fran was saying, just like me, she's kind of stuck in this situation. It doesn't matter what her opinion is. But I don't know what her opinion actually is, if she actually does like Fran or not. So there's a whole thing there. The way the show covered the husband-wife thing, where, you know, Fran says, you know, you don't have to call me your wife. Like, are you doing it because you think you're better than me or anything like that? We don't get that really in the book, because it continues through the book with the husband-wife calling thing. And Fran does call him out on it a couple of times, but it's not a full, like, yo, I'm uncomfortable with being called this or anything like that. So it kind of sticks with the husband-wife trope so far. Now, do I hate the book so far? Honestly, no. Again, because it is a really good concept. I see why someone would have found it and been like, this is a great little template. Let's take it and change it and create a new story with this. Because it works. It does work. I'm not familiar with After Day's writing, so I can't, again, say if this is fully bad or not, because it's not in Thai, it is in English, and who knows what the English translation's like. The English translation might just be the crappy version because the editor didn't edit the way they were supposed to edit. And I kind of almost feel like that, because later on in the book the writing gets better for some scenes where I'm like, wow, this is really a great description. This is really well put together here. This sounds really good there, like all that stuff. So I'm like, who did this? Because this part is amazing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's bad, if it's not terrible. It's not terrible. It is readable. It is definitely a readable story. And yes, I would suggest someone to read it. I do think, especially if you're a fan of the Bad Buddy series, reading the behind the scenes novel might be a good little, thing, especially since it's a pretty short book. If, unlike me, you have a whole life and a lot of things to do, you should be able to get it done in a day. I wasn't. I read it in my spare time, and that's kind of it. But it is definitely a quick read. It is definitely a very easy. It's an easy read if you can follow along on every part. Yeah, that's what it is. It's an easy read if you can follow along the story. I had trouble following along the story at some point, so it wasn't always an easy read for me, but it could be for you. It's like I said, it's available on Meb eBooks. I'll see if there's a way to put a link to it or something, finding it, because somebody sent me this Twitter link thing. The Twitter link was broken, to get to it, but I was able to find it. It is $15.97 to purchase it, $15.97 US dollars, because it was like 4.99 baht. So when I paid that, it said $15.97 in my bank account. So $15.97 US dollars for the book. I want to finish reading it so I can do a full review of it and really give it a rating. Because as far as story, it's very interesting. It has a lot of interesting parts. I actually prefer the Y, the best friend Y. I prefer him in the book than on the show. I prefer the one in the book. He a real gangster. He does not leave his peace behind. But I understand why they didn't make him like that for the show as well, because, you know, the show is trying to appeal to a whole different audience, especially an audience who's never read the book, and you want to make them, the characters more likable, and probably having him be a real gangster is not going to make him as likable. So that makes sense. That actually did make sense to change that part that was changed. Anything that I want to finish reading the book before I say the things that I wish they'd kept from the book, or the things that the book portrayed better than the show. One thing, because like I said, the book has each chapter going from a different one's perspective. So Pat Pran in alternating chapters. I wish instead what it was Pat, and we hear from his point of view of what happened, and then Pran, we hear from his point of view what happened. Because instead we're getting Pat saying what he thinks Pran is thinking, while looking at him, what he thinks is going through Pran's head, and then Pran, what he thinks is going through Pat's head. And I know it's the writer trying to depict exactly what the emotion is. Like, oh look, they know each other so well, they can tell each other's emotions. But I think it would have been better to do it each chapter just from their point of view, because it kind of is done in the later chapters, and it works so well with really showing their different point of views and what was going through their heads at those moments, because we'll get a little bit end of that chapter hearing what Pat was thinking, and oh nope, didn't work, and all that stuff. I think that would have been a whole lot better, honestly. Ooh, it is windy like a mother. Get my stroller out here. I think, sorry. So yeah, I think that would have been a better option, and because it's executed so well in the later chapters, I think I would have really liked that in the first few chapters as well. Another reason why I think it would have been done well is it would have been better, is like with Pran, he doesn't really show his emotions, especially in the first few chapters. Even when it's his turn to talk, we're not really learning about his emotions, which makes no sense, because there we go, it's from his point of view, so I should be hearing exactly from him what he thinks. So why isn't he expressing himself or his emotions when he's talking from his point of view? Like, that's the time to let him really express everything he wants to say. So I think if it was done that way, it would have been so much better. We kind of see it better, a better use of it in the second half. In the second half of the story. And I'm very glad it was done the way it was done in the second half of the story, because then we actually do get to really, really hear how Pran feels about Pat especially. And yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish the book so I can do a full review of it. And also reading it, I try my best not to compare it too much while reading it to the show, but it's very hard to not compare it when I think about the fact that that show that I'm loving, that I think is so amazing, actually came from that book that I don't recognize as the storyline at all. So thank you guys so much for listening in. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Time for BL. Don't forget to check out my Linktree and see all those links. You can go ahead and check out the merch store. You can follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. And yeah, don't forget to follow this podcast here on Spotify or on Anchor, wherever you're listening as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time when we make some more time for BL. Bye.